buy or sell, Genty will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genty, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Genty for that number one overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton, but he got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson, but they don't like him. Shocked whatever, RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say I automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Genty's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day on this terrific Tuesday evening. Scott Wetzel, Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, and of course, betting on the world of sports. Off day for the NFL, a little pregnant pause for the World Series to begin in Major League Baseball, but hockey, big night in Beantown as the King Rat does return. Also the return, how about that, of the NBA. The season kicks off tonight with a couple of games, one game just getting underway for the most part, and another game later on tonight, Lakers and Golden State Warriors. So a lot to get to over the next, and some college football as well to put a couple shekels on. But before we do all that, it is game time. What's betting you off tonight, Gabe?
Well, we're ready to rock. The worlds are starting to collide right now. The NBA is back. Feels strange to see an NBA game on right now that's not a preseason game, a game that actually counts. We pulled the trigger on the Houston Rockets plus the points in this basketball game. NBA teams to get their rings, and I really don't understand why they give the rings like right before the first game of the year. There's got to be a better time to do this. It's a distraction, and in the NBA, it has been a distraction on banner night and on ring night. I was at the Toronto Raptor opening game when they got the rings after they won the championship, and they won the basketball game, but they didn't cover. NBA champions are 1-4 against the spread the last 5 years in the season opener. We pulled the trigger with the Houston Rockets, and as you stated, I've got a bunch of NHL hockey props on the early card tonight for the pickoff.
Yeah, one of my favorite all-time systems, the anti-celebration system in play with the Houston Rockets tonight against OKC, which we can explain when we get a few seconds here. And then we got Brad Marchand returning back to Boston. So opening pickoff time, Gabe and I give our best plays out. We follow them along the 2-hour show. So I'll start with some hockey stuff here, Gabe, since one of the NBA games is already underway. I'm going to go over 5.5 LA Kings, St. Louis Blues. Blues great at home last year. Not quite the same this year, but they're an over team as well. You wouldn't think that historically. Kings have been an over team if you want to go back to last season also. So 5.5 goals, 6 goals, not a lot of goals. Give me over LA Kings and St. Louis Blues tonight.
I'm going to start off with the Dallas Stars. The Stars kind of stumble into this matchup tonight against Columbus, losing 2 straight, but Columbus gave up the most shots on goal per game. You're giving up 34 shots a game. That's a hard way to make a living in a National Hockey League. They have the worst penalty kill in the National Hockey League as well. I thought the Blue Jackets kind of overachieved last year. They're in a tough spot tonight against Dallas. Price is a little bit high, so I'm going to play the Dallas Stars in regulation tonight, minus 120. They need to win the game in 60 minutes.
All right. My next one's going to be under 6.5 Anaheim, Nashville. A little surprised this line is 6.5. You got to pay a little juice to it, but still, that's a pretty big number. Nashville's an under team. They have been last year. They are again this year. And this is where I kind of look at last year's stats and say, all right, is it continuing this year? If so, then I'll put credence into that. 13-4 under their last 17 games at home, including 2-0 this year. They're 5-1 under this year. And Anaheim is 5-1 against Nashville, which I'm going to use for Nashville's purposes here because I think they're going to say we really got to buckle down. We can't be losing to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. So give me under 6.5 Anaheim, Nashville. I see this 3-2, 3-1 somebody.
I'm going to take Thomas Harley, Dallas Stars defenseman who really made a name for himself in the Four Nations face-off last year. He's got 6 points in 5 games, 1 goal and 5 assists. We just talked about the Columbus Blue Jackets giving up a ton of shots on goal. They're terrible on the penalty kill. So I'm looking for Harley to get a point tonight. And you know what? It's minus 110 as well. So there's no juice on this. So Thomas Harley to record a point for the Dallas Stars.
All right, not bad. Another hockey one for me. Let's go under Columbus and Dallas. Another 6.5. You don't see 6.5s too often with the Dallas Star games. You really don't, especially at home. Columbus 4-1 under in their 5 games this year. I don't think it's getting to 7. Takes 2 to tango. This has got 4-1, maybe 5-1 Dallas written all over it, but I don't think they're getting to 7. So give me under 6.5 Columbus and Dallas.
I can tell you that the unders have a slight edge right now so far in the National Hockey League. Not by much, but it's like 47-43. So it's about a 52% clip right now to the under so far in the National Hockey League. I'm going to take Jake Neighbors tonight. Another player, red-hot start for Jake Neighbors on the St. Louis Blues, taking on the Kings tonight. 4 goals and an assist in the first 5 games of the season. The Kings have had a hard time keeping the puck out of the net. Listen, the Kings have had a horrible start to the year this year. I thought the Kings were overrated coming into the year. I didn't really think much of them, to be honest with you. But with that being stated, their schedule has been really tough, and it's still really tough right now. So I don't think the Kings are as bad as their record indicates. I'm not taking a side in this game because the Kings are a desperate hockey team right now. But give me Jake Neighbors to record a point tonight, and we're getting a little plus money on this one with Jake Neighbors. Plus 115, Jake Neighbors to record a point.
All right, last one, another hockey one for me since the football's already underway, and another under. I'm going under on these West Coast, if you will, Central Time Zone, Mountain West Time Zone games. Under 6.5, another 6.5 Colorado at Utah. Utah in the series, 4-1 under their last 5 meetings with Colorado. And Colorado's, had their way with them. Again, I'm going to use that as Utah saying, okay, we got to turn things around here a little bit. So it takes 2 to tango to get to 7 goals, unless you get screwed over with a couple of empty netters, which is always possible when you bet the unders in the NHL, right? But I don't think it's going to happen to me. This got 3-2. Again, same thing, 3-2, 3-1. Give me under 6.5 Colorado, Utah tonight.
My final pick will be an NHL pick as well. Give me Leo Carlsson. Leo Carlsson, who was the 2nd pick in last year's National Hockey League draft, and he's already starting to show the talent and why he was drafted as high as he was. He's put 6 points up on the board in the first 5 games of the season. And when you're taking somebody on a point prop, right, you especially want them, number one, do they get a lot of ice time? Are they on one of the top lines? And check, yes, as far as Carlsson is concerned. And he's on the number 1 power play unit for the Anaheim Ducks. So I like Leo Carlsson tonight. We're pushing the envelope a little bit tonight with NHL props, but I do like them. All these players are off to a really hot start. So I got 3 props here. I hope to win at least 2 of them, and the Dallas Stars in regulation.
All right, there you go. So we are underway. We're set with some hockey stuff tonight. So NBA season game kicks off, and I got to tell you, first game in, right? The very first game in, I'm saying, boy, this line doesn't make any sense to me. Why was Houston and OKC? And OKC's capable of putting 150 points on the board all by themselves. I didn't quite understand why that line was 227.5. They're off to a good start. It's 24. In fact, it's 25-24 now. Houston leading by 1. Still 3 minutes left to go in the first quarter. FanDuel offered an interesting product. They're doing a much better job, FanDuel. Now that they're into this thing for a few years here, they're offering you more like goofy props, which I just love. They had one today, Gabe, even money. Will each team tonight score 20 points in the first quarter? It's only 2 games. So you're talking about 4 teams. So Houston and OKC, I would have been shocked. So I made that bet. I got to, the 25-24, so that's already in. And then, the later game is 10 o'clock, Golden State and the LA Lakers. But I thought that was a suspiciously low number, 227.5 for this game. I figured they'd come out flying first game. Who's, playing defense in the first game of the season? So, and I liked Houston like you did with the, anti-celebration system.
The thing is with the total of this game, you know what? I wanted to play the over and I didn't. I generally do play a lot of NBA overs, but I didn't want to force it tonight. First game of the year, Houston have a new lineup for the most part. They really do. I mean, they traded away a bunch of players to bring Durant in. They don't really have a true point guard. And one thing with Oklahoma City, they're really good defensively. And so were the Houston Rockets last year, right? So I kind of got the feeling, adrenaline, that these teams would get after it early in the game, but it could slow down a little bit as the game goes on. And here we are right now. The in-game total is 228.5, so it's sort of right on the number.
Yeah, no points being scored over the last minute and change. So, all right, quick little break. We're underway. In-game live game day here on the grid.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. In-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. Full slate, including the start of the NBA. Certain nights just have themes. There's nothing to it. It just really is coincidence. It really is. But, it does work out that way sometimes. And that's seemingly tonight is points. We're getting a ton of goals in hockey. We got 4 goals early second, New Jersey, Toronto. We got 5 goals, Islanders, Sharks, early second period. We got 2 goals early second, Pittsburgh and Vancouver. College football game, we got 28 points early second quarter, Kennesaw State and FIU. And we got 17 points, and I did like the over this one, Western Kentucky and La Tech, and they're still in the first quarter. So the over-unders on those were both right around 49 and a half, depending on where you do your shopping. The Kennesaw State one's up to 65 and a half, and the Western Kentucky La Tech one is up to 55 and a half. I like FIU, and I like the over in the Western Kentucky La Tech game. Things going well so far. How about you?
I played both unders in these games, so I'm surprised that Kennesaw scored as much as they have. I am on Kennesaw State in this game. They're laying 14 and a half points right now, up 21-7. This Kennesaw State team, they have 2 losses on the year. They lost 10-9 in the first game of the year to Wake Forest, right? So they lost by 1 point to Wake Forest. Then they played Indiana after. So, like, we're talking about a team that since then, they haven't lost to anybody else, like in conference play, right? Which is pretty impressive, this Kennesaw State team. They're very good against the run. And FIU like to run the football. So I thought it was a good spot for Kennesaw State, as crazy as it sounds. And, yeah, listen, they lost 56-9 to Indiana, but they opened up the season with a 10-9 loss at Wake Forest. Then they went to Indiana. Since then, they haven't beaten anybody, but they beat Merrimack, Arkansas State, Middle Tennessee, and a nice win against Louisiana Tech. So as far as the conference is concerned, pretty crazy, Scott, but they're in the mix right now. You know, the Conference USA, though, sort of become like what the Sun Belt was before with these teams.
Yeah, it's bad.
So it's like, oh, Conference USA. It's like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it is what it is, but they're playing good football, so I like them. And Western Kentucky are a weird team, right? Like, they weren't as good as their record indicated. Louisiana Tech, Scott, sort of started off the season strong, but their offense isn't very good. So that, you know, that's why I like the under of this one. But so I'm on both unders, which aren't looking great right now, and I'm on Western Kentucky plus the points and Kennesaw minus the points.
All right. Yeah, I took FIU game. Just it really was an anti-Kennesaw State play. They lost 10 straight road games against FBS teams. So, yeah, and the two, you know, obviously you give them an excuse, no problem with losing at Wake Forest, you know, in Indiana. But I wasn't ready to lay 3.5 points with a team that's lost 10 straight road games. It's just,
yeah, it should be noted, their 4-game win streak, they're all at home. Well, it is true. They played there. So Kennesaw State did go on a 4-0 run here, but they did all. So they're back on the road for the first time since the Indiana game.
Yeah. So it's not looking good. Would I double down right now on Florida tonight? You know, it's Florida International, Western, or, you know, Kennesaw State. So, you know, I didn't put a whole lot on it to begin with. And who wants to double down on a game like that? But, you want to give me 14-plus points, you know, 21-7, I would take that. Especially since I'm going to count on Western Kentucky and La Tech maybe being a winner, after one.
It was only a 3-point spread, so you are getting value per se, right? You've got a 3-point, you know what I mean, a 3-point underdog that's suddenly getting 14.5, 13.5, 14.5 because they're down by 14.
17.5 now.
And even 17.5 now on their, you know, it is on their home field, but they're not very good, right? Let's just cut to the chase. Right. FIU are not a very good team. And if you look, like, they got drilled by Delaware. They got, like, murdered by UConn, 51-10, 38-16. You know, they were getting beat up for the most part, yet they pulled that big win out of their hat against Western Kentucky, right? Which they just shut Western Kentucky down. It was a surprise, 25-6. The Hilltoppers were just terrible, and the Panthers won the game, but I didn't really full buy into them just because they won that game.
Yeah. All right, Houston and OKC, so they finished up the first quarter, 30-27. Houston on top, now getting 3.5. Over-under is down to 226.5, so a point lower than what it was to start the year. They were at a torrid pace. They really were. It was like 25-24 with 3.5 minutes left, and then when they get 5 points basically the rest of the way, less than 10 points the rest of the way. So here are my 3 plays, NBA. I got a bunch of over-unders and some championships game. Kind of took one from each area. You know, when you really take a step back, I will say there's not many teams I really think can win it all. There could be some surprise teams and disappointing teams and this and that. But, ultimately, I came up with a couple that I thought could win. I'll take the Knicks, at 11-1. It's a partial value play. But the Eastern Conference is going to be so bad this year that if they can't
taking
get
the
into
Knicks,
NBA
though,
Finals,
Scott. When I guess
public
Nick, you
play.
said it. Yeah, and I'm just saying in a sense, it's like taking the Toronto Maple Leafs to win.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
I
When's
know.
the last time that they never win, right? So it's like it's
69,
almost like taking the Seattle
70.
Mariners. Yeah, and the Leafs won in 67. So I'm just saying, it's the same type of thing.
Well, I didn't want to take OKC because there's no point at plus 210. I mean, how low can that number go, right? That number to me can only
That's
go high.
ridiculous.
So there's no sense taking them down. Yeah. I took a flyer on the Orlando Magic and the Boston Celtics. I think the Magic, if they progress a little bit more, they were a decent team last year, right? Eastern Conference is bad. Maybe, just maybe, Banchero takes the next step and really kind of elevates that team. And I like the Celtics because I'm not writing Jason Tatum off. There's pictures of him in a basketball gym already dunking the ball and stuff. It's a long ways from playing, don't get me wrong, but from now until, May, June, that's a long time for him to recover. So maybe, just maybe, the Celtics at 30-1 in a bad Eastern Conference can put it together this year, and you're holding on to a nice 30-1 ticket.
There's two teams that, if not this year, when? Right, in the Eastern Conference. The New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right? The Knicks always fall short. The Cavs always fall short. And it's almost like the path is open for them, but almost like, the path is open for the Buffalo Bills this year too, and the door is like slamming in their face early right now. I'm with you. I look at the Eastern Conference. I don't like anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really don't. You can make the argument that Knicks, I guess, but I'll give you the Pistons at 12-1.
I thought about them. I did think about them. We'll talk more about it when we come back.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
come on,
right? I mean, really, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. Talking a little NBA as the season kicks off tonight. Got a bunch of over-unders here. We gave out our my three plays as far as winning it all with the Knicks at 11-1, Magic 20, and the Celtics at 30-1. A lot of those were investment purposes versus actually thinking they're going to win. Little hedging there. Over-unders, listen, I had a ton of them, Gabe. I settled in on 5 for the show and in 2 unders, but I probably could have thrown in 2, 3, 4 more overs, believe it or not. I'll start with the one team that's been an enigma for me just over the years. And I, it's kind of like The Godfather, right? Yeah, I'm out and they just keep on pulling me back in, right? The New Orleans Pelicans. And I know one hates the Pelicans and Mr. Twinkie more than me, but the number is so freaking low, 30 and a half. I mean, how bad are they going to be? They can't get 31 wins, albeit playing in the Western Conference. Pacers and Celtics, same thing as far as they're in the same boat to me. I don't think neither team is going to fall off the map that much. Halliburton's good. I get that, but he's not a 25, 30-point scorer. He distributes the ball, the glue that keeps it all together there for Indiana, but that's a big drop for one guy. And same thing with the Celtics with Tatum.
They lost Miles Turner, too.
Yeah, they did. But I believe in programs. Like, I don't think you go from lousy as Indiana was to really good and then fall off the map. It's kind of like the Memphis Grizzlies, when they lost all those players and they kept on winning.
Look, at 37
wins
and a half,
in the Eastern Conference.
They don't have to be great.
Number.
That's the thing.
Right.
They have to be great to win the bet. The Pelicans, I think, really could be that bad, and I think the Pelicans could end up trading everybody, even they already do all the time, but I think that could sort of continue. I'm with you with the Celtics in that basically are the Celtics a 500 team, right? Has the sky fallen that much? And I think Missoula has enough pride and the guys on the team have enough pride. And not to mention, the Eastern Conference is whatever, dude. Like, anybody can beat anybody on a given night in the Eastern Conference, for real, for the most part, except for the Charlotte Hornets, let's say. You know what I mean?
You got 3 really bad teams.
The Nets are rebuilding.
Brooklyn and Charlotte.
Yeah, Nets are rebuilding. But the Wizards actually have some talent, right? They've got some guys, but they're not good. But I know what you're saying. But for the most part, there's not a reason why the Celtics can't be a 44-win team, right? A 43-win team type of thing. You're not asking for that much to get to 42. So I would, I think the Celtics, I like the Celtics one more than the Pelicans. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have just taken a 2-1 lead on the Canucks with 5:39 left in the second period.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, surprising little start to the season. Not bad. How about San Antonio and Dallas? I got 2 overs. Dallas 41.5. I'm going to buy into the Kool-Aid of Cooper Flag. And then the Spurs at 44.5. Again, Western Conference tough, but I'm looking for progression. Wembanyama and the guys, and I'm not a Popovich fan at all. I think he's the biggest blowhard in the history of the NBA. He's finally out of there. Addition by subtraction in my world. I think the Spurs get to 45 wins.
I'm a big Wembanyama fan for him to sort of take the league over eventually, but he's got to do it. I'd like to see him take less three-point shots. To me, I'm just a little bit put off by the number with the Spurs. Right, I think the Spurs, to me, it's are they a playoff team? I would rather almost look at the playoff odds, but I am all in on the Mavericks, and I think the Mavericks are a dark horse, actually, in the Western Conference overall. It's amazing to me the lack of respect that they get. Cooper Flag's going to be a baller, right? Just, he's going to be an NBA player, contributor as a rookie right away. He'll be better in a couple of years, but he's going to contribute in his first year. Really the key, and it's sort of almost Joel Embiid-like, but AD stays healthier than Embiid does, at least, right? But if does AD stay healthy? Because they don't have Kyrie for most of the year, right? I don't know if Kyrie can come back later in the year. I've heard that he could, and I've heard, he's out for the year type of deal. So anyways, let's say there's no Kyrie here, but they're still, stacked, Scott. The Dallas Mavericks are an extremely large, team. They're very difficult to deal with defensively. And now you throw in Cooper Flag into this mix. I think the Mavericks are going to be a load to deal with in the Western Conference this year. A lot more than people are giving them credit for.
Yeah. 2 unders, Rockets 52.5 and Knicks 53.5, which is weird because I got the Knicks to win it all. But only 3 teams had 54 wins last year. I don't think the Knicks are improving that much. And then I'm not buying into KD with the Rockets. I think they're going to, really regret trading away all those players and trying to win a championship. I think they take 2 steps backwards. So
they're hurt by
we'll
Van Fleet being out for the year.
Definitely. We'll get the coach's thoughts, James Young, when we come back in Game Live.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, it looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1, talking some NBA. The season kicks off tonight. Welcoming in the coach, Mr. James Young, SportsGrid host. You see it here all the time here on the grid. Coach, we were talking a little futures there before we get to those. Give me your thoughts. Houston leading. It's the anti-celebration system. Gabe made a great point. It's like, why do they wait till opening day? They can't figure out another way to give these rings out. It's such a deflating moment for the team. They get their rings. The last thing they're thinking about is playing basketball. It riles up the other team. So Rockets lead at 46-42. They're getting 2.5 now, and the over-under is pretty much where it was to start the game at 228.5 right now. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a hot start offensively. Chet Holmgren looked really, really good to start the game. Interesting, you try to figure out with Van Vliet being out, who is the guy they're going to run their offense through. It's actually now Farrington good with 5 assists in the first half. He's gone over that already. So up and down game, listen, it's going to be a game of runs. I thought that Houston was, before Van Vliet got hurt, was the biggest threat to OKC in the West. It seems like their length, going with 4 guys at 6'11", could impose their will to the three-point line, but you're seeing Oklahoma City kind of drive the ball to the cup and take advantage of them a little bit because of the lack of foot speed.
I'm surprised, Coach, that KD doesn't have any assists yet. I thought he would distribute the ball a little bit since he still could get there. I played over 3.5 assists for KD. They don't have a true point guard right now, right?
Well,
just point blank. So I figured with him with the ball in his hands that he would end up distributing. but he's shooting. He's KD. He's already taken 8 shots in 14 minutes.
He's getting this up. I thought the guy that looked really good has been Amen Thompson. I thought the Amen Thompson over 4.5 assists, although heavily juiced, was an easy play. Guys, in the last 20 games that he played without Fred VanVleet, he went over 15 out of 20 times, averaging 5.9 assists per game.
He's already got 4 of them, too. Yeah.
He's already got 4, right? So and if you think about it, you got to correlate these things together, right? So you think about this. If you look at Houston last year, the one guy that was ball dominant was obviously VanVleet, but also ISO player was Jalen Green. So now you surround a man with Kevin Durant, not an ISO guy, catch and shoot, one dribble pull-up guy. Jabari Smith, catch and shoot guy.
Yeah, there'll be more distribution now.
Right, more. There's less one-on-one and more drive, kick, shoot. And that benefits a guy like Amen Thompson, who's got 4 assists so far.
A lot of storylines this year, Coach. Players out and everything else, and we're looking at futures here. And it was a struggle for me to come up with teams that I thought could win the NBA championship. I really, when everything is said and done, I wouldn't bet OKC now. I'll kind of compare them to the Dodgers, where the line is so low at plus 210. No matter what happens in the regular season outside of an injury, I don't know in a best-of-7 series if anyone, maybe Denver, who had them 2-1 last year, maybe they would be the team. But is there any value in betting OKC now? And how do you approach who's going to win it all?
Not a 2-1, Scotty. I'd rather go take some other flyers. I think New York is enticing because I think they're the best team in the East. So with the odds with them, I would be looking at them. If you want a little bit of a sleeper pick, Kevin talked about it before. We talked about it on GTD. I think Minnesota is dangerous. Julius Randle looked really good in the playoffs, the best Julius Randle's looked. I think Anthony Edwards takes the next step. I think Jaden McDaniels looked really good at times. I am concerned about Mike Conley, the point guard play, so you're hoping that Terrence Shannon Jr. or Rob Dillingham step up. And obviously you have Naz Reid, one of the best 6 men in the year.
What about Rudy Gobert?
Right, well,
not a positive in Rudy Gobert.
No, I mean, listen, Rudy Gobert is a rim protector, but at the end of the day, you could easily pull him out the game and go to Naz Reid. And I think that was one thing that was so interesting when I loved them when they beat the Lakers, Gabe, was the fact that they just went small with Naz Reid, stretched the floor.
I know, but you're paying him all this money not to pay. And you saw the same thing. France did the same thing, coach, in the final minutes against USA, which is pretty wild that the French coach said, you know what, I'm pulling Gobert off the court here in the final minutes of this game. Right? Well, it just seems to be a problem. Like, I know what you mean. I think Minnesota are dangerous as well, but they could always just run into the same problems. And Conley is like 100 years old now.
He is 100 years old. And you always thought, well, they're going to go get another guard. But they never do. But that's why I think Anthony Edwards is going to have to take that next step where he's going to become not only a scorer, but someone that can create off the bounce for his teammates. I think that is the next part of Anthony Edwards' game. Guys, he's 25-1 to win the MVP. I firmly believe, in my opinion, he's the sixth best player. Those are crazy odds. He's the 6th best player in the world. I mean, to me, you're looking at, to me, Joker, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Wemby, Ant. I think those 6 guys have kind of almost separated themselves from the rest of the players, in my opinion.
And he's obsessed with it. He's obsessed with the MVP, right? That's, then in the NBA, that's almost as important as a championship is, really, right? To be honest. I mean, players just really gun for that. But he is a badass, and he's it's kind of open. I mean, there's a bunch of teams in the West, but it's really Oklahoma City, and you can't make you brought up Denver. Denver are kind of older. Right, to the same team, so it's just sort of the same thing all the time. Jamal Murray gets hurt all the time. A lot of the Denver players are pretty complacent. I know people who live in Colorado, and I don't like, I'm not a snitch type of thing, but let's just say they spend a lot of time out, like type of thing, enjoying themselves, the Nuggets, since they've won.
Well, I also think to me, what Denver did, which was good, is number one, they got a true backup center for the first time for Nikola Jokic. I'm not counting DeAndre Jordan, right? And Jonas Valanciunas, they can spell him a little bit of time. And you may go double big lineup. I also think getting Bruce Brown back was something that they sorely missed. Christian Brown took an extra step. I think the biggest thing they did is, I don't know about you guys, I think one of the most overrated players in the NBA is Michael Porter Jr. He is so feast or famine. I think Cam Johnson may not be as explosive as Michael Porter Jr., but I think he's more consistent, a better defender, and will go rebound. I think that's an upgrade they made getting Cam Johnson from the Nets.
All right, if not OKC, then who then? You said you mentioned the Knicks, maybe.
To me, it's the Knicks, and they have to figure themselves out. They already have injury concerns already with Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart both ruled out for opening night tomorrow versus Cleveland. But I just look at the fact that offensively they should be able to space the floor a little bit better. They'll be harder to guard, Scotty, because of the fact that they just won't pound the ball into the ground with Jalen Brunson. And I think that bench with Yabusele, with Clarkson, with Shaman, I think those guys are going to be a huge upgrade. And Mike Brown won't play the starters into the ground. So you'll see that. Also,
it'll be a different rotation this year, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
are they better than the Cavs, though?
Yes.
Because it's almost like the Cavs and Knicks, it has to be their year, right? I mean, the Cavs, it's like both of them are in the same boat almost, aren't they? You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, not now, when?
And the interesting thing is this. The biggest key to the next season, out of anybody, to me, is Mitchell Robinson. When he plays, he is a load, and he's a problem.
Can he stay healthy?
And that's the big part. That's why I think the Knicks are taking it careful with him. But if you think about that series versus Cleveland a couple of years ago, he literally punked Mobley.
I thought you were going to say Josh Hart is a big X factor.
He's an X factor as well. Sleeper in the Six Man of the Year award, but I think it's Mitchell Robinson because his way to protect the rim. And I think Cat is better when he plays with a big, like that kind of way they used him with Rudy Gobert.
How about the Sixers with Embiid being 35-1 and Giannis with the Bucks being 40-1 on FanDuel? Has the window closed on both those teams? I mean, that's amazing, right?
Philadelphia is about being healthy. To be honest with you, I think Milwaukee stinks. I gave AJ Green 4 for 45. That's basically Pat Connaughton light. And we know what he did once he got his deal.
I was going to say, I think Pat Connaughton's starting on the team again, Coach.
I told you how bad
they're that bad.
All right, we'll talk some season win total, over-unders with the coach coming up next.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really, I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on the way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe chat with the coach, James Young, as we go over some NBAs. The season tips off tonight. We got the one game going on. They're approaching halftime here. Let me just update the score for you. It's 53 to 48. So we're at 98 points with a minute 30 left to go. So it's definitely slowed down. Over-under is down to 220.5. And then the point spread, Rockets are actually favored now. One thing about the NBA, boy, in-game live betting, you got monster swings and the point spreads go from you can be a 6-7 point. There's no reason to bet OKC before the game, any team, because chances are halfway decent. They're going to be trailing somewhere along the line and actually be underdogs as they are right now. So got a couple of over-unders here, Coach. Let me get your thoughts and then see if you have any. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to go in on over New Orleans, but only because the number is 30.5. Zion going to play this year? Or, on paper, it's like Wall Street. They're worth more apart than they are together. They got good players. They really do. Can they not get to 31 wins?
I think they can, Scotty. Listen, number one, this is the best in regards to shape I've seen Zion look since he's been a rookie. He looks slimmed down, which is good because he can't carry that weight at 285, 290 with those knees. He's got to be at about 255, 260 max, right? Trey Murphy, the Thorns, I think, is one of the most underrated players in the league. Obviously, you get Jordan Poole in the trade. They got guys, right? They got guys. It's just a matter of can Zion stay healthy and can they stay engaged? So I do like them as a team.
It doesn't sound like a lot of defense there, Coach. I have to jump in here with the team.
No.
I'm just thinking about the style. I'm like, man, not a lot of D, not a lot of effort on the court here. Like a lot of shots, but.
Speaking of D, a team that I'm high on, guys, honestly, is Portland. They look a lot better the second half than people want to give them credit for. I thought that they had to move someone between Simons, Sharp and Scoot. I think they moved the right one in Simons. I think Sharp is not an explosive offensively, but I think he's a better two-way player. You look at Kamara, you look at obviously the improvement of Donovan Clingan. You have veteran guys, and guys, I'm telling you, if you've not seen Yang Hansen play, you're in for a treat. I know they call him the Chinese Joker, and that is a big compliment to get a kid. There were two guys that I were high on internationally when it came to the States to play. The first one is Alperen Şengün, and I wasn't wrong on him. I don't think I'm going to be wrong on Yang Henson. I think he's going to be a pretty good pro.
And what about Dame Lillard?
Hey, we worry about him next year. He got his money. Let him sit back and relax and do his rehab. But I think Chauncey Billups is actually a pretty good coach, guys. I really do.
But it goes to show, though. It goes to show what they got going on there. The Lillard's like, you know what? I'm going to go back there. I liked it there. I liked the program. You know what I mean? He could have tried to cherry pick somewhere else. But when you talked about defense, the Raptors coach, how many teams have the depth defensively that the Raptors do? Right? You look at they got ballers, man. You look at their starting five: Emmanuel Quickley, R.J. Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl. But sort of, guys off the bench, Jamal Shed out of Houston, he's a scrappy type of guy.
Grady Dick, Abaji.
Grady Dick, Ochai. And how about the player they drafted in Colin Murray Boyles? I mean, this kid he's a very good defensive player as well. This is going to be a tough team to score on. The question is, will they be able to score enough?
Yeah, see, I think.
And with Ingram, that's why they had brought Ingram in, right, to score.
And the crazy thing about Scotty Gabe, is the win total is a little bit, I wish it was a little bit lower than the 39.5, right? But if there's a team that makes a little bit of a jump, maybe for them to make the play-in tournament would be something to look at with them. It's health. Can Quickly, can Barrett, can Barnes, can Ingram, can Poeltl stay healthy?
Yeah, Barnes never stays healthy either.
They all have injury concerns. But, Gabe, if they do, then that team is a team that can find themselves in the play-in tournament. I like that team. I also think I saw Scotty's.
I think they can do better than that. I think this team can win 45 games, Coach.
Well, that means that you're selling on Boston, right? Because in that division, you got to play New York a bunch of times, Philly a bunch of times, right? That means you're selling on Boston, and that's
Nets
why,
a bunch of times.
Yeah. Oh, the Nets are.
Let's not forget that. I'm just throwing it in there. Yeah.
Wait, whatever. Hey, listen, I'm going to fade the Nets like I faded the Chicago Sky. Just take the win total under. Take the win total under. One team I would not take the under. One team I would not take the under yet is Washington because they have veteran guys. I wanted to let them get off to a good start, let that win total rise. They're going to get rid of Middleton. They're going to get rid of some of these guys, McCollum, probably near the trade deadline, right? And then I jump in and take them with the under. Because to me, Utah, Brooklyn, Washington, they're playing for the Peterson kid at Kansas. They're playing for the Boozer kid at Duke. And obviously, they're playing for AJ DeBanza, the star rookie at BYU. I said freshman, I should say, at BYU.
Man, that's crazy, eh, Scott? Teams are going to tank for a kid that hasn't played a college game yet. Like, man,
I'll tell you what. That's scrimmage over the weekend.
The guy hasn't played a game yet. Hasn't played a game.
Right? Yeah.
Like dominated high school. A bunch of white kids in Utah, coach. He hasn't played a game yet.
You know what the interesting thing is guys know that Cooper Flagg left high school early. He was supposed to be in next year's draft. And I wonder if he wasn't.
What do you think about him as a point guard, coach? What's going on with that? It's pretty wild, huh?
Love it.
Jason Kidd would know.
Smart, sight lines, can see the floor, space him with shooters. I think Cooper Flagg is. I'll tell you this. Should be looking at Cooper Flagg to get at least a couple of triple doubles, but it won't be big triple doubles. And here's the other one. Kevin talked about this before. Stack the Wemby triple double, and go get Wemby to get a quadruple double. You watch. It's about 16 to 21. He will get one of them this year.
Wow. Is Wembanyama going to carry San Antonio? Like, really make them true players? They're going to make a good combo.
What? Vassell, Johnson, Harper.
Castle's a stud on that team.
Castle's a stud. Yep, they're going to make the playoffs. They will make the playoffs.
Yeah. That's the one team that I kind of look at that maybe, just maybe. Coach, good job as always, man. Enjoy it. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks to the coach for joining us. His play, by the way, for the second game, Golden State money line and Rui Hachimura over 12.5 points for the LA Lakers. So that should be a decent little game. You agree? Yeah, you like those?
Well, with the Warriors pick. I'm not going to go with Hachimura. I'm going to go with the Warriors on the money line, but let's go with Austin Reeves over 21.5 points in this game. He averaged nearly 28 points a game, actually, last year when LeBron was out. Don't forget, it's a contract year for Reeves as well. So this is green light central, like, for him tonight and moving forward out LeBron for the first month of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to go over with Reeves, and I like Curry over assists tonight as well.
You got 30.5 for Luka tonight. 9.5 for first quarter, which is, I was going to play his first quarter thinking, okay, he's going to come out flying, right? But yeah, I can't play a guy to get 10 points in a quarter. You know, it's amazing how the boys in Vegas, they're like kind of, you know, they know what everyone else is thinking. You know, that really should be like 7.5.
This is the most public.
If the average is 30, then it should be 8. That's what it really should be, not 9.5.
This is like a public mark bet. If you're betting a Luka Doncic prop tonight in the first game of the year, and there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to get mad because he's going to finish with 28 points. And, my second-game parlay, I needed him over 30. It's a lot of points to be, for him to score in the first game of the year. Speaking of being in shape, though, he really has greatly improved his conditioning as well. He played internationally in the offseason. He was playing for his hometown in the FIFA World Cup qualifying and all that type of stuff. So he was playing internationally. And he was doing his thing. He was dropping 34 and 35 a night. He's ripped right now. He's lost a lot of the fat and stuff. The fact that the Dallas Mavericks, they should have kept their mouth shut, right? But they were trying to justify trading him. But they basically called him a fat drunk, right? I mean, that's the gist of it. They said, you guys, don't realize he's out of shape. He's always hurt behind the scenes, and he drinks all the time. And we're done with it. Right? We're not going to be able to win with him. We're done with it. He's talented. And I think he got to L.A. and he heard like what they were talking about him there in Dallas and what his reputation, he realized, man, that is my reputation kind of. And being around LeBron James, say what you will about LeBron James, guys, but LeBron James takes care of himself. So you have Luka suddenly, this pale, pudgy dude next to like LeBron in practice and stuff, Scott. I knew it would change him. He's in Hollywood now. Like, he had to, you can't just show up out of shape now. And plus, dude, they're ready to push LeBron out for him. So he needs to get in shape. Like, if he's going to carry this franchise, he's, they didn't even put it this way, they didn't tell LeBron when they sold the team to the Dodgers. Jeannie Buss called Luka Doncic. They didn't call LeBron. LeBron found out about it in the media. Wow. Like, that's where we're at with that relationship right now with those two. So, LeBron, and LeBron is thin-skinned. So LeBron is basically sees, all right, you guys are starting to move on with this guy right now. So, it's, there's a lot of pressure on Luka to deliver.
Yeah. I still don't understand that trade. I really don't. It's the proverbial, you don't get rid of 25 guys in a baseball team. You get rid of the manager, right? Even though it's really not the manager's fault. Same thing with me. If that's really your concern, that he's drinking and he's fat, then you get rid of the trainer or you get rid of the head coach. You get rid of the person who's responsible for motivating him. You don't get rid of him.
How come Carlisle was coaching him in Dallas and decided to leave for Indiana? He had a 23-year-old mega superstar. He goes, I'm going to go coach the Pacers instead. Why is that?
I don't know. The guy took him to the NBA Finals. He could have been the biggest.
I'll tell you right now, the Mavericks will be better. The Mavericks will win before Luka does. When the Edmonton Oilers traded.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
When the Oilers, Luka's never going to win. He's a stat patter, bro. He's a stat pattern.
He was in the NBA Finals game 2 years ago with a bunch of nobodies. You put some good players around him.
He's a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but my only deal is they shouldn't have traded. They could have gotten more, I think, right? They kind of did it too quickly, but it's like the Wayne Gretzky deal. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky's the greatest hockey player ever. Wayne Gretzky never won another Stanley Cup after he got traded from the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers won 2 years after they traded him.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I remember. Asa Tikkanen. That was a great, Edmonton Oilers team. It was obviously more than just Wayne Gretzky, but I would take that bet that Luka finds a way to win before this goofy Dallas Mavericks game. But it's an interesting discussion. It is. Hour number 2.
Not even.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in and play really good defense and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point. But if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas.
In the fourth quarter.
Yeah, come on.
Right? I mean, really. I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. 2 games in the NBA as the season
here's Luka Doncic,
tips off.
Scott. Just for the record, after talking about him, they're showing him walk into the arena right now, just right on cue. He just arrived for the game tonight.
Yeah.
I got a feeling I'm not playing his prop to the over tonight. I looked at his assist. It was 8.5. I'm like, he's going to kind of have to pass the ball, but who's he going to pass it to? Then I'm like, no, Austin Reeves will probably get more assists, but I think Reeves is going to score too. But no, listen, I don't want to misinterpret. I think he's a great player, but he's got his flaws as well. And listen, him getting in shape right now in the offseason, I think is a big first step, right? But is there a player that complains more to the referee, as the game is going on?
Definitely not.
Is there a player that doesn't play defense, Scott, that just walks back while he's yelling at the ref and he takes himself out of the play? He does that incessantly.
Oh, every play. If you watch a Mavericks game, every single play he's arguing with the referees. I mean, if I was a ref,
his hands are up. It's like, dude, everyone else is halfway up the floor right now, and you're still back here arguing.
Yeah. I mean, I would tee him up. There is no doubt in my mind, Gabe, the NBA's got to go to these refs and say, listen, you know what? Swallow the whistle with him. Not don't call fouls, but don't call technical fouls, because if you go by the letter of the law, and I do a little refereeing, he should be kicked out in the first quarter of every game. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. So no doubt they just say, listen, you can't be throwing this guy out. Whereas I would go the other way.
God, can you imagine being a ref dealing with LeBron and him at the same time and on the floor? Because they're both bitching constantly about everything. Like, LeBron can run someone over like a tight end, and he'll be like, what? What did I do? What do you mean? It's like, what do you mean, what do you do? It's just like LeBron, just admit it. You committed a foul. You have to complain after every foul. Every foul in LeBron's career, he's had the oh my God, I can't believe it look. Gets in the ref's face. Luka's got the, what do you mean? What do you mean all the time? Man, it gets old. And I think Jason Kidd just wanted to strangle him after a while.
Yeah. Kevin Durant, 14 points in his debut for the Rockets. Gave him a monster 2-year, $90 million extension, which, as crazy as it sounds, Gabe, is less money than what he could have had. He took a hometown discount, believe it or not. I think they were capable of paying him $120 million from what I was reading. He's got 14 points tonight. Rockets lead OKC 57-51 at the half. Rockets.
At least he admits it's a 2-year deal, 2 years, with KD. You're not going to commit. You know what I mean? Guy changes his mind often and stuff like that. So he seems to be happy. Like you said, he wanted to go there, right? He wanted to go there. He seems happy. He took less money to fit in and to make the team work and all that type of stuff. And he's been a very, very positive guy in camp so far.
You wonder why, right? Because they traded half the team to get him. So he wants to go to the Rockets, assuming to play with these guys, but then it took 3 guys.
Yeah, and then they trade the guys.
Yeah, so it's wait a minute. I didn't want this team. I wanted,
you know what, though? Jalen Green was good, but wasn't really developing. Kind of an offensive guy that was hit or miss.
Awful in the postseason. Yeah,
Dillon Brooks is a head case, right? Dillon Brooks was basically every game. He was just a WWE wrestler. It was all right, is he going to get kicked out tonight? Is he going to start with LeBron? Right. And it's a positive to have, but it gets old after a while on the same team. You know what I mean? You got to mix it up a little bit, right? The same team will get tired of the antics. So I don't know. They've gone really big, Scott. That's the whole thing. We were talking with a coach, right? You look at Oklahoma City. They're a massively large team. Look at what Houston are right now. Houston are starting a bunch of massive dudes. Look at the Dallas Mavericks now. AD, Gafford, Cooper Flag. This is the new NBA right now, man, where everybody's a 7-footer again.
It's amazing. Shea Gilchrist-Alexander.
Look at the Spurs. Wembanyama, et cetera. Everyone's big, man.
Yeah. And this guy's playing point guard half the time, Wembanyama. He's bringing the ball up the court, for goodness sake. He's making steals.
Which I'm not a fan of.
Because he's playing the perimeter. I mean, neither. But it's still amazing.
You know what, though? He's still a kid, Scott. You don't want to get the kid killed in the paint early in his NBA career. But at the same point in time, I get angry when I see Wembanyama pulling up and taking 9 3-point shots in a game. It's bro, what's the point of you in being 7'5"? What are we doing here? I'm not asking you to get beat up in the paint, but how about we develop a little skyhook Kareem style here? Let's figure out a shot where you don't get hit, right? A mid-range jumper won't kill you, right, Scott? The modern, mid-range jumper guys. You know what I mean? Let him just kill it. How are you going to stop him? If he just did a turnaround 8-footer, Scott, like Ralph said, how are you going to stop Wembanyama from a little jump shot? You wouldn't be able to stop him. But instead, no, he's got to be Steph Curry.
Yeah. And who's going to get a rebounding if he does miss from 5 feet out? The guy's 7 feet, 7'8", whatever the hell he is, 7'5", 7'6", right? Nobody. He'd get his own miss if he did miss instead of being out in 3-point land. Pretty good.
I'd like to see him in the paint more.
Yeah. Gilchrist-Alexander gave 5 points. They got him at 22.5. Now, I know that's, it's 18 points second half, but you're telling me he's not going to get, in fact, now it's down to 20.5.
The same game parlay killer, Scott, just like we were talking about with Luka. How many poor bastards are freaking out right now? I can't believe SGA only has 6 points and 5 points.
I'm getting out over 32.5.
I can't believe this. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. Dude, they're giving mid-season numbers, Scott, these 32.5s and 30.5s and stuff like this. And one thing, guys, I know it sucks because, they're the star players and you want to get involved with it, but the numbers are just so high and accurate, right? They're almost unbettable. It's all right, he might get to 31, he might get to 29. Really? Are you, it's almost like me betting the over 54.5 in a long field goal or something. It's you really need a clean ride to get this there, for a guy to drop 30. And it's the first game of the year, man. So what, you just think he's going to show up and drop 33 points in the first game of the year? Just automatic. Oh, he's SGA. I got to score 33 points tonight. It's not easy to score 33 points in an NBA game.
I'll take them over 20.5, though. I'll do that. That I'll do.
And they're down by 10. That helps the script.
And they're down.
Right? They're down by 10 right now.
Exactly. And if it happens to be one of those games where he's distracted, they got their rings, raised the banner to the rafters and everything else. All right, how many times did SGA not have 21 points last year? It can't be more than a couple. You could probably count on one hand. I would think, when everything's said and done. So,
I think now
give me over
I'm going to jump in. I didn't bet the over, Scott, of the game. I'm going to jump in on the over the game now. I got a 221.5. Still a lot of basketball left. There's 10 minutes left in the third quarter. It's 63-51 right now. The Rockets are starting to pull away a little bit. They're up by 12. So this is going to force Oklahoma City to open up. So I like where you're going with SGA. He's going to start shooting more. He's just going to start, shooting more. He's going to start taking it to the rack, right? That's his move. He takes it to the rack, he gets fouled, and he goes to the free throw line. But at 221.5 now, I mean, we've only played like a minute and 40 seconds here, 50 seconds. Yeah, and at 63, we're already up to 114 points right now. I don't see why we can't go over 221.5.
Yeah, especially with OKC, theoretically the better team trailing. So and at home. So you would think
supposedly the better offensive team.
Supposedly, yeah.
But we saw this with OKC. They're not that diversified when it comes to their scoring, really. Right? Like, Jalen Williams is hurt. There's two Jalen Williamses, right? There's the Jalen and the Jalen with the IN, right? The one that's out is a lot better. Okay? He's the good one.
Yeah, he's the better.
Yeah. So he's not playing, right? He's not playing in this game.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, what's that, Scott? 23 points? 22 points?
Yeah.
Just, all right. Like, who's replacing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Chet Holmgren, Chet Holmgren's tall and he's getting money and all this. He ain't dropping 30 for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need SGA to go off and score 30. Otherwise, they don't win.
Yeah.
Lou Dort isn't a great offensive player.
No, he's not.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in and play really good defense and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. Like, I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. Just checking out little Alex Ovechkin here. He did get off to a slow start. I'm just kind of thinking to myself here because he only has 1 goal in 7 now games, or 6 games plus tonight. He has yet to score. So I was all set to say, all right, at this point last year he had 5 goals through 7 games, but he actually only had 2 through 8. So maybe he's just a slow starter to the season. Talk a little.
He doesn't care anymore.
Here. Probably
he's already
not.
broken the record.
I said that about. Yeah, I said that about Sid the Kid. I think the same thing with him in that I don't think he's going to push for a trade because he's got a Stanley Cups. He's got his, 4 nations. He's got his Olympics. He's got it all. So if
Crosby and Ovechkin are completely different people.
Right, but I'm just saying as far as is he going to push for a trade?
Like are completely different. Like
I just don't
not
think
not about trading. I'm talking about Ovechkin was free. Ovechkin's already won a Stanley Cup. Ovechkin was driven. No, I don't. Crosby's not going to get out of Pittsburgh, but like he was driven to break Wayne Gretzky's record. He broke the record. So what do you want me to do now? I'm 42 years old. I'm 41 years old. I already broke the record. You know what I mean? So, like he was obsessed with it, and not to mention his teammates were feeding him the puck all the time. Every time there was an empty netter, it was like, all right, let him score. Get him, let's get this record. Let's get the record. And it blew the Capitals season up, right? They were so focused on him getting the record. You'll notice last year, once he broke the record, the Capitals weren't as good anymore after. It was like the balloon got popped or something like that, right? And it's sort of carrying over into this year right now. They are winning 3-1, though, against the Kraken, who lost last night. But I want to rip the Leafs, a team I didn't even bet on them tonight. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have taken the Devils. Last night, I don't know if people saw it last night, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. wore an Austin Matthews Toronto Maple Leafs jersey to the game last night. So, his dramatic walk into the stadium, he's wearing a Leafs jersey. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dear God, like, this is the worst jersey you could wear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Doug Flutie was an Argonaut. Why not wear an Argonaut jersey with Doug Flutie where they won? Rock and Ishmael. Bust out a Rock and Ishmael Great Cup jersey where they won, like, even a Kawhi jersey or like a Kyle Lowry or like, bust out, So, he goes with the team that never wins big games. You know what I mean? So the Leafs never win. So today, and I brought it up today on the podcast, and I said, it'll be a gutless thing of the Leafs not to win tonight after Guerrero wore their jersey last night and the Blue Jays went to the World Series. You know what I mean, Scott? It should carry over in the same city. Hell, the Blue Jay players are wearing your jersey. Tonight, Austin Matthews wore Vlad Guerrero jersey to the game tonight. And here they are losing 4-2 to the Devils. That's pretty sad and gutless.
Gave up 4 goals in the second period. Led 1-0 after 1. Now it's 4-2 midway through the third. Yeah. There might be a little resentment there. Like, okay, you guys are doing what we can't do. Deep down inside, they might be saying, you guys continue to lose and we continue to lose. All right, one big party of losers. But if you guys win, now we're left on an island of being the only team that they can't win in our city. So,
it just puts on a ton of pressure. Because, like the Raptors and the Leafs have the same ownership, and the Raptors won. And to be honest with you, it pissed ownership off, right? They're like, we don't even really care about the NBA team. Like, we've been trying for 55 years to win with this hockey team. And you guys came in and just sort of won in a couple of years here. And they were so jealous that in the hallways, in the concourses, it's all Leaf stuff. Brendan Shanahan refused to put Raptor stuff up. Yeah. Like, because they had championship pictures up of the parade and the trophies and stuff like that. And he was like, no, I don't want to see that. This is a Leafs building. The Raptors are a secondary tenant here. Right? Like, it got that nasty after the Raptors won the championship. It goes to show, like, the Leafs mentality. They're more worried about a Raptor, like, picture in the tunnel than they are, like, winning.
That's petty, right? Jeez.
They're very Dolan-like. Put it that way. Like, they're very, they're very petty about everything. You know what I mean? Yes.
How about the Islanders were minus 210, 220 favorites today against San Jose, who I figured was using the backup goaltender, and they are. Sure enough, Islanders 4-2. Brad Marchand back in Boston for the first time. I watched.
I got the
ceremony
Sharks
for that.
plus 1.5 in that game, just for the record. So I'm hoping for a late goal here, but I guess the Islanders, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? The Islanders got to win sometime.
Yeah. Someone's got to win between now. I just thought that line was crazy. And it turns out the backup is playing for San Jose, like I figured. Here's one. Columbus is leading Dallas 2-0. Dallas at home, getting plus 320 midway through the second period. Not a bad little number. Even grabbing them plus a goal and a half at plus 122. Yeah. I mean, they can go
losing. They've already lost 2 in a row, too. So I'm surprised at Columbus. I'm on Dallas in this game in regulation. I hate betting regulation. I don't do it often. So I'll tell you guys right now, watch, just out of spite. Dallas will come back and win the game in overtime. So I like your in-game pick here, Scott. That's what'll happen. It'll be in overtime. I won't win the regulation bet. But I see how that's going to play out. And look, we got some early goals. You were talking about goals being scored tonight in the NHL.
Yeah.
The Anaheim-Nashville game looks like we got, 4 goals already in the first period of play here.
Yeah. We're in the second now.
Pretty wild.
2-2.
Into the second. My bad. So, it's first, two in the first and 2 in the second already. So, 4 goals already now. Let me see if I got my – and there we go. There we go, Scott. I got a winner. I said Leo Carlson point. He scored a goal. So, I hit him. Nice. I could have – I would have been better to bet him on to score a goal. But we bet him to score a point. So, Leo Carson's man, the guy's red hot, Scott, on the season. Here's another one, too, coming up for later. Arturi Lehkonen of the Colorado Avalanche tonight against the Utah Mammoth. Yeah, the new name, the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah. I don't like that name.
He's gone over. His shot prop is 1.5 tonight. He's gone over. He's had 2 or more shots in all but one game this year. So I like Lehkonen to go over tonight, 1.5 shots on goal.
Yeah. See, that's where you got to go now with these shots on goal. You look at the big name players, forget about it. They price you out of the market. They really do. Now you got to go to the second, third line players where not many people are
like McKinnon's like 4.5.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good for him. I've seen 5.5 with him, believe it or not. All right, more coming up. Big Game Live.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe checking out a little college football, a little hockey. We got the NBA beginning. Got a little pregnant pause here with the World Series, not starting until Friday. Maybe we'll touch on a couple of props. If not today, then it's tomorrow or Thursday for sure. But college football, let's go back to that for a second. Got Kennesaw State leading FIU 24-14. They've begun the third quarter, 4 minutes in. FIU with the ball down 10. My lines are locked here on FanDuel at the Kennesaw 28-yard line. And you got Western Kentucky getting set to start the second half, leading at La Tech. Getting 3.5 today. I thought that was a halfway decent number. I saw this as a pick'em game. I like the over, the 49.5 as well. So they're now laying 7.5. Over-under is only 51.5. Which, if you like the over to begin with, you got 24 points. You're well past the halfway point. They're not expecting a higher scoring, which I'm surprised since the home team, the theoretically better team, is trailing. So normally they compensate for that and make it even higher, but they really didn't.
Their offense, though, is bad. Louisiana Tech's offense is not very good. They are not designed to come back from behind, right? This is the problem. Their offense is starting to stall this year right now. That's why I like the under. Western Kentucky's supposed to have a good offense, but they don't. Right? I mean, their quarterback, and it started off strong this year, but they still kind of win games. But the offense really hasn't clicked. And Kennesaw, I'm surprised. And here you go, like I said, FIU are moving to football. You got a 3rd and 11 on the 21-yard line right now. But we'll see if this Louisiana Tech game slows down. Right? It's sort of right on the number. That one closed at 50. It's 51.5 right now.
Yeah. It's too bad this conference really has taken a dip. Like, it was never great, don't get me wrong, but they've had some good teams. Whether it was Liberty, it's had some really good teams. Western Kentucky's always had halfway decent teams. When Stockskill's son was there quarterbacking, Middle Tennessee State had a number of halfway decent teams. But
it wasn't that long ago. Scott, it wasn't that long ago that, like, Conference USA had, like, the Memphises of the world and
right. Yeah.
Right. And, other sort of bigger, Cincinnati and stuff. Right. It used to be kind of a more respectable conference. Like, everybody is sort of moved up, whether they deserve it or not. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, come on, next year the Pac-12 is going to be back, and, like, Texas State are going to be in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
like, so it's like the calibers aren't like a good, put it this way, like good Sun Belt teams left for the Conference USA. That's where we're at kind of right now. You know what I mean? With these teams. It's hard to keep up, though, with a lot of these conferences now.
Yeah. I think the Sun Belt now is a little bit better. I think Conference USA is the worst. In the little battle between Sun Belt, Conference USA, MAC, what other one? Yeah, like American has kind of separated themselves from that. They're clearly a really good
I would say
now.
This one. Yeah, I would say Conference USA and the MAC who would battle it out for, like, the lowest tier. Sun Belt Sun Belt and MAC used to be kind of on par, and they used to throw them in bowl games together, and the Sun Belt kind of won more. Right. So, what the thing with the Sun Belt, though, Scott, the Sun Belt's kind of on a bad situation just because of where they are geographically. Right? Not everybody can play for LSU. So, if you're Louisiana Tech, you're going to get players. And, you might get a player with bad grades. You might get a player that's got arrested a bunch of, you know what I mean? There's going to be, You're going to have to deal with things type of stuff, but you're going to get talented players still, right? Like, look at Tulane, right? Playing in New Orleans. Yeah, the LSU, no, but they still have a pretty damn good football team.
Yeah. And they all want to stay in the South. They don't want to leave. So that's like the next step. You're right. Not everybody is an Alabama, LSU, Georgia caliber player.
And then if you're in the MAC, like, it's not as cool. Like, you're playing in the snow, bro, and stuff. Like, you're playing in Eastern Michigan.
At least those Sun Belt teams, I've watched those games. They get people to show up. The fan base is pretty good down there. You watch these MAC midweek games.
It's freezing out. Like,
there's 1,000 people.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up, actually, dude. Like, because, technically, you're supposed to average like 17,000 people a game, right? To be a D1 school. They clearly don't. Like, they clearly don't. They don't monitor this. Because, like you said, I'm watching these midweek games, and there's a few thousand people there. I know, like, the Buffalo Bulls, what they do is, like, once a year, the Goo Goo Dolls play there. And they bump up their attendance. You know what I mean?
Right, like
So,
a concert, and oh, by the way, football
yeah,
game is playing too.
they'll get like the average up. But it's like, yeah, we have a big concert and we actually got like 38,000 people, so that counts for 3 games. You know what I mean? Like like there's sort of tricks that these schools will do. But I was thinking about, like, does NCAA really monitor this? What do they do about this? Like,
yeah,
you don't kick anyone out ever. Yeah, like what do you do?
Mark Zitto coming up next.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to like squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. Like, I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. We got a little football, college football. We got the start of the NBA season. And we got the baseball World Series, 4 days away coming up on the Friday. So a lot to talk about with our good buddy, Mr. Mark Zitto, SportsGrid host you see in here all the time here on the Grid. What's going on, Mark? Well, why don't we start a little NBA tonight since the season is kicking off? We got one game going on. We got one more starting in about a half hour or so. So OKC, what were they, 6.5 point favorites to start the day, down 3, 76-73, late third. Pick them right now, over under 214.5. Where you going with that one?
It's hard to take the Rockets at a pick 'em when they were catching 6 earlier in the game, right? I mean, the numbers favored. You're better off trying to middle it. Usually when you get to about that 8 to 10 point window is where you can start to middle things in a basketball game. At least that's where my measure is, right? If I got a 10-point window, I can try to middle it. So somewhere if you get Golden State, not Golden State, the Thunder +3, and you had Rockets pregame, +6, you're in a nice window, right? I think that's achievable to middle. But at this point in time, if you have not already invested in the Rockets, I wouldn't do it now.
Yeah, I actually think it's a pretty good line for OKC. Right? I mean, listen, the NBA. You're 6.5 point home favorite, and you're 3-point game, third quarter, late third. Why not, right?
You're getting a -110 right now. Banner night, right? That doesn't mean they're going to cover. I brought it up earlier too. They're 1-4 straight up, the NBA champions the last 5 years in the first game of the year, but they've won outright. Like I said, I'm a Raptor fan. I went to the game. They played the Spurs. I remember they were laying 7, same thing. It was like 6.5, 7. They won by 3 or 4. I could see the same thing happening. SGA scoring a couple of late baskets, and they pull it out. I'm almost talking myself into it as somebody that already has. I hate middling games, but I already have, Mark. I am one of these people on the Rockets plus the points already, so I might jump in on OKC here. What do you think about the Laker and the Warrior game? You going to bet this game?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of missed the early money line here on Golden State. It got, in the neighborhood of minus 140-ish, and I just decided to lay 1.5 to 2. I think I got 1.5 earlier today, but I was content with doing that at this point in time. Look, Golden State's been all about defense, and Jimmy Butler has got there. You're looking at a Lakers team right now that's not going to be with LeBron James. And although Luka may be unstoppable at certain points, do we really know what DeAndre Ayton looks like in the Lakers offense yet? I still think there's going to take time to work out all those kinks. So the Lakers offense may be a little disjointed and not really as effective as we think here. I kind of think the game goes under as well. But, I laid the 2 with Golden State.
23-7 guys with Jimmy Butler last year. The Warriors, 23-7 with Butler in the lineup.
Yeah.
Any props in that one that you like?
No, early for me to hit the prop market in the NBA. I got to figure out what's what. I mean, if you're not playing the top level guys, if you're not playing like Durant, I know tonight is really is doing well, but if you're not playing top level guys, and I don't usually are paying a premium on all those guys, right? Like it's not. It's tough early in the season for me to figure out props. Look at Chet Holmgren tonight with 18 points. I remember betting on him in the finals, and the guy never showed up. So it's a little early.
Night one of the NBA.
Yeah.
All right. So how about long future plays? Any over unders or championship bets that you want to make today?
Well, I mean, look, the Knicks are priced difficult to bet at this point in time. We'll just call it that, right? I mean, who knows what they really are and what they're not, how good they're going to be. And, I think, honestly, when I start to look at like teams to make the playoffs and things of that nature, I would look to the bottom of the East because it's so up in the air, right? Like it's really hard to figure out who's going to be on those bottom teams and who's not. I mean, another team like the Pistons is going to be way overpriced after the year they had last year. So you can't really bet them. But, a team like the Hawks maybe to make the playoffs, if you're talking about, just getting into the top 10 seeds, there'll be a team that is there. I think at the end of it, they've been a play-in team for the last couple of years. You can look at them and look at their win total with some new additions that they've made offensively. So I think they're not a bad bet when you talk about win total. But, the NBA futures market is so hard because you don't know who's playing night to night, right? To play like a win total, it's really, you have to find the team that's just going to end up being better than you think, or the team that's going to be worse than you think, and try to ride that.
Too, in any sport, you bet a win total. You got to worry about, injuries can happen, right? But you bet a win total on a baseball team. Like, look, I bet a win total on the Blue Jays this year, and they had a lot of injuries. Bo Bichette was out all the time. Here they are going to the World Series right now. NBA, you're so prevalent, Mark, on just a couple of players, right? Look, I'm a Raptor fan. I bet on a Raptor win total. Okay, if they don't get hurt, it'll win. If Scotty Barnes gets hurt like he always does, it won't win, right? It's like one player, Scott and Mark, can really just change everything with an NBA future season bet. Unlike, I guess the NFL, a quarterback, but you guys know what I'm saying. Basketball totals, win totals are pretty fragile.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a really hard market to bet. That's why you have to look for something like what the Pistons did last year. Who's the team that you think is going to rise and really show up with a lot of young players and surprise people? That's the team you look for a team total over on, or a team win total over.
Or I'd rather get to make a playoffs where I'm getting some plus money. You know what I mean? As opposed to just the win total.
Yeah. The only thing is just for people to know, if you bet for a team to make the playoffs, that doesn't count the play-in games. Like they have to finish in the top 6 in order for you to win your bet. The 4 teams that do the goofy play-in, that doesn't count as making the playoffs, believe it or not. So, how about baseball? Dodgers minus 220. How you going to attack this one? Bruins scored. How about that? 2-1. How you going to attack World Series? Dodgers laying 220 against Toronto.
Look, you guys explained it before you were telling me in the break. I think you guys had a couple of futures earlier in the year when the Dodgers were plus money, and you're jumping back in. Minus 208 on the Dodgers to win the NLCS and didn't care. And I laid 220 for the Dodgers to win the World Series. Why? Because betting on the Dodgers right now feels a lot like betting on Scotty Scheffler. There's not a bad number because flat out they're just going to win, and he's just going to win. So it doesn't matter what the number is to me because I'm not confident that the Dodgers are going to win this thing. So I laid the 220 with the Dodgers just to win the series. Do I like laying 220 on favorites like that? No, but I'd be more than surprised if the Dodgers pulled this thing off. And if you want a little bit of a better number, see if you can get Dodgers minus 1.5 games, which means as long as it doesn't go 7, you're going to be good here.
Minus 125. Dodgers are 24-6 in their last 30 playoff games right now. It's going to be hard to beat them 4 out of 7 times, and I've only lost 6 out of 30 times.
Shohei Ohtani is their 4th starter.
Yeah.
He's their 4th starter.
You think about what would it take to rattle. I forget about losing, right? What would it take to rattle the Dodgers, right? They could realistically. That's why I don't like Gabe and I have talked about this, Mark. This 2-3-2 format. They could realistically lose the first 2 games in Toronto and still say that's all right. We got 3 at home. All right, we'll win the next 3, then we'll go back to Toronto up 3-2. So it's going to take a lot for the Dodgers to really be rattled and think, okay, I'm going to lose this bet on LA. It's almost like 2 games.
And if they win 1 even, they're going to feel good about going back to LA. They'll be like, all right, we did our job. Now we can finish them off in LA.
Problem is,
it's like the odds aren't going to change very much if they go back 1-1, you know?
You guys, let me just throw this out here. You can bet the Dodgers to win the series and in game 1. You know what I mean? The game 1 of the series double type of thing. That's minus 105. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I mean, the problem with the format is that every swing game benefits the lower seeded team until you get to game 7. If it's 1-1, game 3 is in the lower seeded house. If it's 2-2, game 5 is in the lower seeded team's home field. So I hate the 2-3-2 format. Baseball's done it forever. I don't know why they don't change. I guess the travel is too much, but this is where we are.
Yeah. What we need to find is we have until Friday, guys. We need to find somebody that likes Toronto. For better or worse, drunk, male, female, black, white, young, old.
Well, everybody in Toronto is betting Toronto. I'll tell you that.
All right, we got to call somebody in Toronto. Thanks, Mark.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the 4th quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. So final seconds, game's holding on. Hopefully you are as well to a San Jose plus 1.5 goals. 8 seconds left, empty net timeout on
Looks
the
like
ice
it just
right
ended.
now.
It
just ended. 4-3.
Yeah, 4-3. We dodged the bullet.
Woo!
You know, I thought the Sharks. Yeah, I thought the Sharks. Yeah, they were down 4-2, so like we get the late goal and we don't get it at the empty netter. But Sharks were plus 180 on the money line, which I thought was a little high. But
yes,
you know, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm getting, getting a plus 1.5 at minus 130 is not that bad, right? I don't like laying like 160 and stuff like that. But minus 130, I thought, all right, that's not too bad of a price. We dodge a bullet. We got the split with the Penguins and the Canucks. I played the Canucks had won 3 straight road games, but 5-game road trip. It's starting to catch up to them a little bit there. Their backup goalie in tonight. And remember I talked about the Seelovs guy that used to be on Vancouver. He started for Pittsburgh tonight, so he got the win against his former team. Like, I thought that, you know what, they'll beat him. They'll know his weaknesses and stuff. But no, the Penguins are playing good hockey. Game stayed under, though. I bet the under 6.5. Penguins win 5-1.
Well, I'm telling you, Gabe, I'm going to look this up tomorrow and see. The Islanders were crazy. We talked about a 220 favorite. The Islanders stink. They shouldn't be a 220 favorite over Topeka High. Even San Jose, who's played very well. This is, they played, 6 games now, 5-6 games, and they've either lost in regulation by 1 goal or lost in overtime, and this one includes it. So I'm telling you, I don't have the stats in front of me.
That's the thing with the Sharks. Like, they've lost 5 in a row. Like, they've lost in overtime. They've lost in a shootout, but they haven't won a hockey game yet. Right? So that's why I'm like, all right, they are good. Like you said, good is a relative term. They have good young players. They try hard. They're in games, right? They're not getting blown out. Look, as we stated, they got 2 overtime losses, but they're 0-3-2 now. Like, they are losing games, this team.
They haven't lost by 2 goals yet, if memory serves me right when I looked it up. And that's what I was going to say. I don't know the numbers, and I'm going to look them up for this season tomorrow. But when you're a 2-1 favorite or higher, like the Islanders were, minus 220, I'm telling you, Gabe, it's remarkable how many times those games end up being 1-goal games. It's the Anaheim versus Nashville, basically a pick-up game that ends up 5-2 or 4-2 or a 2-goal game. I don't know why. I really don't, but that's why I always play those to win in regulation. I don't lay for the most part. I don't lay the 1.5. My choice of coffee is win in regulation, which a lot of times they do. But it's weird how if you're a 2-1 favorite, whether it's Colorado versus Anaheim or whoever it is, man, it's remarkable how many times those games end up being 1-goal games. So
there's a lot of 1-goal games in the National Hockey League.
There really are.
Right? There's teams are very evenly matched in the NHL. So looking tonight, like New York beat San Jose 4-3, Edmonton beat Ottawa 3-2. We did have a rout with Pittsburgh. New Jersey beats up on Toronto, but the games that are going on right now are close. Columbus up 2-1 on Dallas. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas tie that one up. We got a 2-2 game right now as the Boston Bruins have stormed back on the Florida Panthers.
Yeah. How about that? Scored 2 times. I think one was a shorthanded goal, or it wasn't shorthanded. It was right after Florida had a power play because they saw them up 2-0 on the power play. So
it's the big return game tonight, right? The big return. Yeah, so Marchand's got he's got an assist for the record tonight.
Yeah, well, opening minute, believe it or not, he created a penalty. Somebody tripped him opening minute, and then it wasn't really a classic assist. It was just like a scramble. He took a shot.
Oh, he'll probably score the winning goal. Net. Everything always works out for this guy.
Exactly, right. It's tough. He's one of the more beloved Boston Bruins, right? And he played a big role in Florida winning. He just didn't join a team and like, okay, whatever, I want to stand. Like he was good.
No, he helped push them over the top, right? Like, you know what it is he was typical Boston Bruin of what the Bruin organization kind of was. But the Panthers are kind of the new Bruins, to be honest with you. Right? Yeah. Well, they're the new they are a bunch of like lowlifes. Like, and he even said that. Like, basically, like, Marchand didn't even get along with most of the Panthers because they're all like he is, right? Like, they're the type of people that if you don't play with Matthew Tkachuk, you don't like him. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's like, oh, he's a curly, it's like, no, I hate that guy. Like, man, is he just dirty. And, man, like, Brad Marchand's one of the most hated players in the league, right? He's more respected now over the last few years. But, like, same thing. They're like, oh, I don't like that guy. Right. And Sam Reinhart and Marchand are on Team Canada together, and they don't like each other. Like, and then they got on the Panthers, and I guess they both they looked at each other and they just started laughing. And they said, I guess it's fitting that we're both scumbags on the same team finally. Like Marchand said, oh, they're all a bunch of dirtballs, so I fit in with them. You know what I mean? Remember, like, the Phillies baseball team, like with Kruk and Dykstra and all those guys? Like, yeah, they're just a bunch of dirtballs, right? And that's what the Panthers are. They're all the same. Like, they're all like to drink. They're all tough. They're all dirty in the corner. You know what I mean? They'll all do whatever it takes to win, but that's why they've won 2 cups in a row. Yeah.
It's going to take a hell of an effort to beat them, if they stay healthy, right, which is the key for everybody, obviously. But I don't know if they'll necessarily have a great regular season just because it's hard to stay motivated. It really falls down to just your love of the sport, right? I mean, you just got to love, listen, they were raising the Stanley Cup 2 freaking months ago in hockey.
But it's the style that they play, too. It's one thing, like, remember the Oilers or the New York Islanders in the past, like the Edmonton Oilers they were flying around. Wayne Gretzky barely got touched ever, right? If you touched him, you got punched. And, like, there used to be a thing, don't touch the star players. That doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So, like, now you take much more of a beating now. So, like, if they're able to pull this off and win 3 cups in a row, and don't forget they made 1 cup when they lost before too, Scott. So this would be their 4th cup in a row. Like, then we're talking dynasty and one of the greatest teams ever, which I begrudgingly don't want to say because I hate them. But if they win this year and they win 3 cups in a row, you got to give them their flowers.
Yeah, I mean, just 4 in a row. Then you're talking like Islanders, Pittsburgh Penguins, Montreal Canadiens. I mean, rare feat. All right, quick little break, and we'll wrap up shop with some late picks there in Game Live.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to, like, squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. Like, I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, last check of the scoreboard. College football, haven't taken a peek at that in a little bit because the guys were at halftime there. Kennesaw State scored again, so it's 31-17 now over FIU. Late third quarter, 13.5 and 61.5. And then Louisiana Tech scored a touchdown, so it's 20-14. About 8 minutes. That's a little bit behind the first game. 8 minutes left to go in the third there. La Tech line up for a field goal, I would imagine. 4th and 3 at the Western Kentucky 31. So that's 52.5. Not bad. Got a couple of more goofy Conference USA games tomorrow. And then NBA, game number 1. Yeah, I tell you, you don't see this too often, but it's I'm holding out hope. I took OKC when they were pick'em game, but they're still down 6. It's been the Rockets, anywhere from 5 to, I don't know if I got to double digits or not. I don't think it did, but in that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 point range the entire way so far. Rockets
in this
playing
game,
3.5, 206.5.
Nowhere near the 227 right now. 206.5. Nope. Right, it's completely slowed down. I jumped on it at in-game over, and I regret it because I stayed away from the pregame over. Neither team can hit a shot in the second half. Oklahoma City are cold as hell. They keep missing everything. SGA finally just did it right now. So, look, there's 4:55 left. They're down by 6. He can just take it to the rack every time. They give him the soft call all the time. They did last year, so we'll see if they do again this year. He just got it right now. Soft call. He can cut the lead to 4 here by hitting both free throws. But Warriors, I'm with Zeno here. Give me the money line with the Warriors. I see it's minus 140 right now. We're going to stay away from the Luka props. That's what in-game betting is for. It's just the number's too high. Similar to, he misses a couple of shots early. You need a really clean ride around the racetrack to get to 31 points. So, but I am going to take Reeves because Reeves, he's going to have to score. There's only really Luka and Reeves that can light the lamp up here tonight. So give me the Warriors to win the game, 23-7 with Butler in the lineup last year. Warriors to win. Reeves over 21.5 points. Curry over 5.5 assists. And Arturi Lehkonen, Colorado Avalanche, over 1.5 shots on goal.
All right. Let me ask you a question that, I think a lot of listeners and viewers might be asking. So Golden State, and same thing with Zeno, right? So Golden State's laying 2.5, minus 112, or you got the money line, which is minus 146. You and Mark both said you'd rather lay the 146. Is that just this game? Is that in general? Why not lay the
general
2.5?
In general, look, basically I'm seeing right now it's minus 2.5, minus 115. So it's not even minus 110. It's minus 115. I'm getting minus 140 to win the game. It's the first game of the year. It wouldn't surprise me. Some of these basketball games aren't close, but same with football, Scott. I don't like laying 1.5 in a football game. I'll lay the money line instead. So, yeah, my general rule is, this is sort of the cutoff, though, with the money line, right? Once it gets up to 155, 160 and stuff, I'm like, all right, I'll bite the bullet. I'll lay the 2 points and pray they don't win by 1 point at the end.
So do you, one thing about gamblers, you never ask someone how much they bet. You could ask them who they're betting on, how many games, but you don't generally ask, that's kind of like the privacy of your own factor. So I won't ask you how much you bet, but do you bet the same and accept that you're going to win less because you're laying $140? Or do you bet, let's say you're $100 better on this game, right? So you're going to lay 115.
No.
Do you bet the 140 or do you still bet 115?
I'm more open than most people are with that. I post my picks online often, right? I'll just show the bet that I made. So, no, I'm not going to do so. If I'm betting 250 a game type of thing, I'll just bet the 250 and I'll win less on the minus 140.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not coming in and laying I'm not laying $350 or something to win. You know what I mean? On the money, on that. So no, I'll lay I'll keep it the same and I'll end up winning less on it. So same with the Dodgers, during the regular season, I'll bite the bullet. It's they're minus 170, but I'm just going to put the same amount on it as I put on another. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's we have a little running joke on the podcast, and we always say it. One of my sayings, if you start your sentence with "I only won," then it's going to be a pretty good sentence. And I'd rather lay like you're doing the minus 140, 150 maybe, and just accept you're going to win less.
You know what I mean? You
there's
don't
nothing
want to
worse
lay
than laying
800 to
2.5
win
and having a
500,
team
Scott,
win.
and stuff. That's the worst, right?
Yeah.
You're like, man, I'm risking 800 to get 1,300 back. It's like, man, all right, I'd rather just risk the 500 and get 360 back and something stupid than I don't want to be on the hook for that much suddenly.
Yeah. Just accept you just win a little bit less. That's all. No big
Yeah.
deal. So, okay. All right. Great job. Back tomorrow. Football, baseball, preview anyway in the NBA.
Let's get it.
Good job.